This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter. I'm welcoming you to another sports catastrophe on the state. And the end of this month, we are doing the big trade for Mark McGwire going from Oakland to St. Louis in 1997. So Mark McGwire was this power hitting guy from USC who was good at college baseball, and the A's took him in the draft and let him develop and all that. Mark McGwire came from a good sporting pedigree. His dad was a prominent athlete before polio got to him. And then his brother Dan actually was quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks for a while, which was funny. To have both a power hitting first baseman and a NFL quarterback in the same family. Regardless, McGwire went on the scene in 1987, putting up 49 home runs in his rookie campaign, which was huge. He was part of the Bash brothers with Jose Canseco. McGwire was a long ball threat for Oakland, who knew what he needed. When McGwire was hurt, the A's were hurt. Like, they were not really that good of a team. Oakland couldn't afford McGwire's services. I mean, late 90s Oakland A's were not really the best. So Oakland needed to make a move. And so they did in 97, trading him to the St. Louis Cardinals for T.J. Matthews, Eric Ludwig, and Blake Stein. He put up 34 home runs by July 31st, which was the trade deadline. Which was weird because, you know, he was a power hitter. But unfortunately, Oakland couldn't do anything. And all that. McGwire became the last player to hit a home run over Tiger Stadium's left field roof. Harmon Killebrew, Frank Howard, and Cecil Fielder did it, but McGwire did it too. So anyway, the big move to St. Louis was huge. Oakland got three players that weren't really that good. They did play better for other teams. Anyway, his 34 home runs was the only good thing for Oakland that season. So anyway, he would play 2/3 of the season with the AL. And the strange thing is, even though he played with the Cardinals for the rest of the 97 season, he actually finished 9th in the American League in home runs. That was how good he was. Of course, McGwire's career skyrocketed from there, for a while anyway. So he would hit 24 home runs as a Cardinal with 42 RBIs. His two-team total of 58 home runs was amazing. He led the majors in home runs, and I can't remember if he was the first player ever to do so, that he led the league in home runs in a season in which he played for 2 or more teams. I think he is. But anyway, McGwire put up 58 home runs, leading the majors in that mark. Of course, you know, he couldn't win any home run titles in the AL or NL because he played for different leagues. All that. Rumors were speculating that McGwire was going to go back to Southern California, maybe to Los Angeles or San Diego or even San Francisco. You know, go back to California or Oakland, of course. But McGwire decided to stay in St. Louis, which was shocking, and all that. Well, of course, we all know that his first full season with the Cardinals was that 70 home run day in which he broke Roger Maris's mark on Fox against the Cubs. Ironically, with Sammy Sosa, who was chasing Maris's mark, also playing all that. So it just went over the left field wall. It was amazing. Roger Maris's family were also present at the game. Anyway, McGwire would put up 70 home runs, including a couple on the final day of the season against the Expos. Now, of course, I admit that this was huge for me, and I got a book called McGwire and Sosa, Baseball's Greatest Home Run Story, because this was before steroids. The steroids were tainting this accomplishment. It was amazing to see. For a while, I had McGwire's newspaper article from the Kitchener Record, but of course it got thrown away, but whatever. So anyway, McGwire had that 70 home run mark. Unfortunately for McGwire, 3 years later, Bonds would break the record with 73, even though that was tainted as well. McGwire actually did not win the MVP that year. That was Sammy Sosa. The voters basically gave Sosa it because he because he was more valuable. I mean, St. Louis didn't make the playoffs. Well, St. Louis didn't make the playoffs. The Cubs had to go to a one-game playoff though against the Giants to get that wild card spot, but they did win and would face Atlanta. A lot of people said that the Sosa McGwire home run chase saved baseball by attracting new, younger fans and brought back old fans who were still soured by the baseball strike of '94. In his later career, he would tail off a little bit. He did hit 65 home runs in 1999, which was good. All that. Unfortunately, injuries would ruin him in 2000 and 2001. He would only hit 61 home runs in his last 186 games. Yeah, he didn't really play a lot. He had 89 games in 2000 and 97 games in 2001, so he was not that great in a sense. Like, he declined. It was quickly. He retired after the 2001 season, so he retired 3 years after that great season he had in '98 because of injury. But he still had a good season before steroids and all that crap caught up with him. I mean, McGwire as a Cardinal was huge because McGwire actually convinced Cardinals management to take a look at Albert Pujols and let him on the opening day roster in 2001. And McGwire actually was a mentor to Pujols. I mean, they both play first base. McGwire gave Pujols the best shot he could. And that was very gracious of McGwire, as Pujols would win the NL Rookie of the Year. It could have been MVP, but Barry Bonds, 73 home runs did it. But yeah. So it wasn't all bad with McGwire with the Cardinals. I know the home run thing was tainted. But, I mean, he helped Albert Pujols blossom. That's pretty good. And yeah, Oakland fell flat, but they had a resurgence in the early 2000s with Jason Giambi and some great pitching by Hudson, Cedal, and Mulder. So you've got that. So Oakland in the long run kind of got it, but those three players, black, ugly. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond, a dude.